Welcome back to the Repurposing Business podcast. Here we are with lesson number 41, and it is this: sometimes your enemies will send you out. This freaks out some Christians because they think, if my enemy is telling me to do this, then maybe that's not God. Maybe it's a trick. But what happened in this passage when Pharaoh calls Moses and Aaron and said, get up, get out of here, the Egyptians come to them and they urge the Israelites to leave. And they say, please, leave Egypt. We've had enough of you guys. If you don't leave, we're all going to die, because the angel of death had just passed through. The principle here is to not just look to your circumstances and say, well, if the Egyptians are pushing me out, then maybe I should stay. No. Listen to the voice of God. The overriding factor is, what has God said to you about your business? What has He said to you about your calling? What has He spoken to you about your purpose? Not who is pushing you out. Sometimes it'll be somebody who doesn't know Jesus who actually pushes you in a direction you should go. We can take leadership from, direction from, pagan kings sometimes. But the overriding factor is the voice of God, how God is speaking to you. So, remember the command of God. What has God spoken to you regarding your business? If you haven't done this, I would urge you to take the time to give God a blank sheet of paper, if you like. Just to sit down and to say, God, what's on your heart for my business? I remember years ago, I was reading 1 Thessalonians chapter 1. And Paul says to them, this is Thessalonica, a working community, says to them, I remember you when I pray for you, your work produced by faith, your labor of love, and your endurance of hope. 3 things. When Paul says your work produced by faith, he's talking about your work, your everyday work, and your labor of love. The motivation for going to work every day is, I love Jesus. And if you love Jesus, then you have to ask yourself, what's on His heart? This is a good time to stop and to say, Jesus, what is on your heart for my business? What would you do if this was your business? You see what I have in my hands. You see my assets, my liabilities, my skills, my passions. You see the things that I've given up on, that I don't even have hope for anymore. And you see the things that there's still a glimmer of hope, an ember which could be fanned into flame. What would you do if this was your business? How would you use it? How could it serve the world? And don't worry too much about whether the circumstance is closing your business, the government is doing this, the tax man is doing that. The key thing is, what is on God's heart for your business? You ask Him, and I'm sure He will show you. So take a moment, pause, ask God, what's on His heart for your business?